Okay.
Okay. Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. I'm thrilled to welcome you all for the awareness workshop, which is being organized from the National Innovation Dialogue by Youth Collab India. My name is Kriti, and I'm from Seventh Sense Talent Solution. So, without
Not
any
recording.
additional delay,
Not
Kriti,
recording.
we did not get a notification of it being recorded. Otherwise, it asks for our consent. How are you recording it?
no, we are recording I'm doing the screen recording money from
Are
another
you
system.
sure? Are you sure?
Yes, yes.
Can you record this from Zoom as well, just in case?
Sure. Just a minute.
You just have to click on record from your laptop here.
Yes, yes.
Recording in progress.
Okay, great.
It's good.
Come and sit here. Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. I'm thrilled to welcome you all for the awareness workshop, which is being organized from the National Innovation Dialogue by Youth Collab India. My name is Kriti, and I'm from Seven Sense Talent Solution. So, without any additional delay, let's extend a warm welcome to Mr. Shankar, who is the founder of Sputnik Brain. Shankar, we welcome you for the awareness workshop. So, in order to give a introduction about Shankar, so he was not only a participant last year, but also secured a victory under the theme of behavioral nudges for life, which is a lifestyle for environment. So, please join me in giving him a hearty welcome.
Can I say something like so first of all, like I extend my deepest gratitude to Niti Aayog and Atal Innovation Mission and Seventh Sense also for organizing this amazing program called as Youth Collab last year. And it was truly an incredible experience.
So, Shankar, welcome. So, before getting into the discussion, like what we have organized today for the awareness workshop, I just wanted to give a small brief about what is Youth Collab. So, Youth Collab, it is co-created in 2017 by UNDP and City Foundation, which primarily aim to nurture the youth-led startup, mainly in between the age of 18 to 29. So, the agenda of this workshop is as follows. So, we will be dwelling into Mr. Shankar's entrepreneur journey, extracting valuable lessons tailored for the aspiring youth entrepreneurs. And you can join us by applying for Youth Collab 2023 and 24 is a must based on Shankar's experience. So, we'll also uncover the program advantages and key takeaways. So, in our session, so you can gain all the insights into the themes, application form, and how you got how to receive, how to apply for an outstanding application. So, Shankar, so my first question is, can you share a brief overview of your entrepreneur journey and how you got involved into such initiatives like Youth Collab?
Great. So very good morning. So my first startup was about like a generative adversarial network, GenAI, using GenAI to be able to supplement human teaching that we have right now. This was back in like 2019 kind of ranges, so it was before the GenAI boom. That was my first startup, and post that, like the second one, like which I'm working on right now is Sputnik Brain, which is like basically building a non-surgical brain modulation device or a non-surgical neural link to be able to unleash the a suffering-free human civilization. That's what the startup is about, and it's towards being able to solve this $300 billion suffering of stress that one in every three people are going through. So if Kriti is not going through, if like the viewer is not going through, I'm going through. So the stats are right. Um, But that joke apart, like it's really damaging not just like people, it's damaging economies, it's damaging nations. So it's a very, very pressing issue. And it kind of came from personal experience. I was myself stressed out. And when I was looking at alternatives for alternatives or rather solutions for this issue that I was facing, all the alternatives were even more inconvenient and caused even more fatal side effects than the problem itself. So that is when one of the doctors and one of the neuroscientists pointed me to this Harvard Medical School research, wherein there are certain brain regions which act as command centers when a person is stressed out. Post that, it was just finding out the antidote, finding out the antidote for those command centers, which is like the human reward systems. And post that, like I just like started to back then I just started to write to random professors worldwide, random neuroscientists worldwide about this. Like I was like, hey, professor from so and so university, like I'm working on this solution. What is the tech that we can use? And if they don't respond like in maybe a few weeks or something, I should just like keep on obsessively writing to them. And if they don't respond, I used to say like, go, you didn't read my research papers. You didn't read my mail. I'll not read your research papers. Go. So I was like a bit kiddish in that sense. But I used to kind of obsessively write to them, and once it reached a certain point where they could not like avoid at all, then that is when they responded, and they gave me like the basic framework. One of the very helpful neuroscientists from University of California, Los Angeles, and post that like we had our very helpful chief of R&D head who's from IIT Delhi, who has a PhD from IIT Delhi, to kind of join in. And we kind of formed a team of sorts, like a very, very small team of sorts. Post that, like we kind of joined hands together with doctors, neuroscientists, and stuff to be able to form this initiative called a Sputnik Brain. And then we got incredible support from IIT Madras and Department of Biotechnology from HTIC. I got like one of the programs in funding. And then we got the proof of concepts, prototypes. We got like our initial breakthrough in some sense. And after getting that initial breakthrough, after several iterations of failures, we finally cracked it, and we got like our working device completed after a ton of technical reviews and roasts and scrutiny. And so after that only that we got through Samsung. I won Samsung and IIT Delhi's Solve for Tomorrow. That program was that the whole initiative, not program, the whole initiative was just like something that catapulted my journey like anything. Because one thing is it helped to be able to refine our existing prototypes. And apart from existing prototypes, it also instill one thing is design thinking in all of the team members. And given that in the first season there was like 18,000 people applying and 50 got selected, that itself was gave like good indicators and signaling to the entire market that this is like something which can really change the world. Post that we got massive uh, mentorship and massive support from mentors who have basically scaled products to billions of users in Samsung, right? Because like all of their products are like used by if you just like go ahead and see anyone, if you take up 5 people, like 2 or 3 might be already be using their products, right? And so they've kind of scaled products to billions of users, and they've solved multiple pain points in a scalable and repeatable kind of way, which impacts so many users, right? So getting mentorship from them, from such an invaluable team and invaluable you know uh, doyens in some sense, was instrumental in my journey. And post that, like winning it was a huge a milestone in some sense in my whole personal journey of such. After that is when like I had applied to Youth Club in UNDP, and this one Niti Aayog was organizing it. And in that there was like roughly I think six teams back then. Like six teams were available back then, and one was like behavioral nudges, which was one of the themes that I'd applied for. Specifically Niti Aayog, I think like the whole initiative, right? Because like the think tank, which is like thinking probably a century ahead of what are the issues which could crop up, and collaborating with the best of minds, best of intelligentsia, and best of talent, and forming solutions which are sustainable in the long term. That was what kind of attracted me to the whole program in Youth Collab. And once I had kind of applied to Youth Collab, right? I thought like initially that it'll just be like one of those programs where we just get like the support and mentorship, and we get like a demo day. But contrary to that, like I had received like magnificent support and magnificent mentorship, as well as um, looking at blind or rather correcting blind spots which I from my perspective didn't see, didn't kind of foresee at that point of time, which was super like essential. Because like once you're like, for example, going in some journey, you'll kind of need to you'll kind of need to see what are the roadblocks, where are the pits. If you don't see those pits, like randomly we could fall anywhere, right? So the mentors that the incredible mentors that I'd received in Youth Collab, they kind of like supported me and like encouraged me first, but after that they kind of outlined all the pitfalls and all the blind spots which I'll kind of need to form a plan to correct. So that was like incredible. And after that, like one of the very, very essential or notable things is that all of these mentors and the panelists have basically done social impact for like millions and probably billions of people, right? And so getting even like a few minutes of their time, right, had been rather getting even a few minutes of their time was like um, it kind of accelerated the whole process of innovation, because then you're not just thinking about like short term like goals and short term sustainability kind of issues which everybody does face, but you're thinking of more of like the um larger impact that could be created.
First of all, the journey, I mean, the startup idea, what you had told me, like it was like very inspiring. First point. Second point, thank you for giving a good feedback on mentorship and few of the session what we had organized in the last years of Youth Collab. So moving on to my next question, Shankar, reflecting on your journey. So what are the some of the key lessons you have learned that could be valuable for the aspiring entrepreneurs?
Mm, First thing is like become the problem. uh, So like the reason I'm saying like that is because like um, from a third person perspective, to be able to solve a problem is great. Like I mean, like it's fine and it's good. But when you get into the shoes like of what your end user is facing, right, or your end user or patient or customer is facing, it kind of like shows you how or rather shows us like how uh, incredibly painful that whole journey is. For example, in our whole thing, it's like about stress and broadly depression. If you consider the initial niche is actually treatment-resistant depression. So in that niche, if we consider like that whole journey from the point of trigger, like wherein the pain point starts, to how the pain point like um, multiplies into 12 or 13 different other branching pain points. And after that, like the kind of issues which a person faces even in acquiring a solution, and then the issues of like the solutions, the alternative solutions which were there in the market not giving the relief at all, right? So one thing would be to just like become the problem itself, like go ahead and see how how much of damage it's causing to people, to damage it's causing to the person itself. And in some sense, like going like in offline, and being able to uh, interact directly with the people who are facing the problem, and having like a an open conversation without like trying to like give out the solution, like just have the conversation on the problem itself, like in the first place. That is super important, because then like the solution will become that is when, like once that deep understanding is there, that is when the solution becomes comprehensive. That is when the solution becomes more comprehensive, and kind of takes into account all the different kind of pain points which are not visible, like say on Eagle's point of view, right? So that is the first thing. Second thing would be like pure obsession in like uh, pure obsession in getting you know pure obsession in one thing is finding out the solution, or rather engineering the solution in the first place, and not being not having any inhibitions for people who have authority. So like one issue, right, was like so like the whole healthcare chain itself, and the whole healthcare and doctor chain, and even the academic chain itself, right? It's like super it's traditional in that sense, right? Like only specific folks who have so much of or rather some specific specific positions, right? Or specific positions, or hierarchy of authority kind of gives like uh, kind of rather limits innovation, you can say, in some sense, right? Uh, and like generally, if we are going and approaching, there'll always be inhibitions when we try and like say even propose a solution, not even like discussing about like how the solution will be implemented, just proposing the solution itself. There'll be so many so many inhibitions. And after that, like sometimes or many times, because of their whole schedules and stuff, the people who are advanced in this, they wouldn't be able to attend to our calls, attend to our messages, attend to so many of the things. So one thing is being able to obsessively, just follow up with them. That is part A, and part B is not to have any kind of inhibitions in what you're proposing, because like even at the end of the day, even that person is also, even the person, like say a leader in the whole industry and stuff, was still like a starter back in say 15-20 years before. He also was a starter. He or she also was a starter. So kind of approaching that person without any of those inhibitions, and being obsessive about uh, getting the milestones done. I think these two was some of the stuff that I had learned personally. And apart from that, one thing that I've learned kind of previous like in the past like 1 year probably, would be handling the logistics of managing teams in multiple locations, right? And it's like it's so tough, like because so I go for like I come for meetings here in NASCOM, this place here, and then our manufacturing happens in a separate unit altogether, and then the trials happen in different sites, and then the team happens like in different places, not just here in Bangalore, but in different places of the world itself. So managing like all these things um, can take a bit of a toll, right? Because you're stuck in different time zones, you're stuck in different you're stuck in like medical grade quality management systems, you're stuck in manufacturing, you're stuck in quality clinical grade quality clinical trials, you're stuck in design, you're stuck in IP, you're stuck in like so many of these different things. And so one of the first things as a lesson, this is in fact that I should have like done, and I'm currently like taking this as a lesson, is that choosing the initial 3 to 4 team members uh, who are both specialists and also generalists. So one thing is they should be specialists in the domain. For example, someone is a specialist in say bioelectronics, or someone is a specialist in say brain modulation or neuromodulation. That is part A. But also being able to choose generalists who can, for example, there's some kind of issue in a design history file in some portion, right? They should be able to like handle that situation by themselves. They should basically be like replicable clones of the founder or the founders. That is very, very important, because like when you're managing all these different time zones and all these multiple issues, uh, you won't get the chance to be there all the time. You won't get the chance or the opportunity to be like on ground all the time. And for example, randomly there'll be an issue which crops up at 3 a.m. Uh, right? And randomly there'll be an issue which crops up at 2 a.m. So to be able to handle all those issues, like you'll need people, or you'll need at least initial set of 4 to 5 team members who are specialists in the domain for sure, right? That needs to be there. But apart from that, they also need to be generalists in terms of handling these logistics. And that is like one of the lessons, like hard lessons that I've kind of learned in the past 1 year.
Was very true. I mean, I completely agree with your point. I mean, what and all the lessons, the struggle, and like I completely agree. Moving on to the next question. So, why do you believe young entrepreneurs should consider applying for Youth Collab India, based on your experience with the program?
I would say like the probably initial 1.5 to 2 years of like forming your, it could be like a social startup, it could be regular startup also. The 1.5 to 2 years will basically be like the sort of foundation stone, right? Of and then like post that, whatever happens, the actions we take will basically be reflections of that in some sense. Um, and I think as like specifically for this question, like as young entrepreneurs, like we have like you know amazing like visions and like uh, truly groundbreaking visions and path breaking technologies and excellent teams and stuff. But um, getting one thing is getting mentors who have basically been there and done that, right? And who can basically look at the pitfalls that a person or an entrepreneur might go through. And beforehand, solving that is very, very crucial. That is part A. Part B is like um, the kind of core practical implementation, right? Like, for example, you want to like go ahead and like say cook a great like pizza, right? Um, like everybody like wants to cook great pizzas, right? But like there's very very few mentors who basically um, kind of meticulously outline what are the ingredients for it and how the whole cooking procedure has to be. So that is what like if the ingredients are right, then the dish will be fantastic. But if the ingredients are not correct, then the dish also will, even though you have intentions of like a good dish, still it'll kind of in some sense fail. So having those mentors who kind of help cooking what's right, right? So that is very essential, and that is what I think Youth Collab will provide on a massive scale. Third thing is um, being able to have the devil's advocate point of view, right? Because like since we are like immersed in the whole building process and building an engineering process, having the devil's advocate point of view of where things need to be corrected is super essential. And at the same time, also forming a meticulous plan to be able to correct that cannot be done alone. Like we can try to do like as much of research and like gather data points, but still it's like without like without the expertise, right? It's very tough to be able to do it. So having those kind of leaders from Youth Collab itself to be able to guide us in that whole journey, right? Because it's a very, very tough, uncomfortable process. Correcting those pain points, correcting those issues, correcting those things which we wouldn't have seen or which we wouldn't have foreseen, right? And having that hand holding is, I think, essential in the whole journey, and having that hand holding can kind of uh, ease in the whole process for the entire team, right? It makes it streamlined. Um, Apart from that, like I would say the incredible credibility that we get from Youth Collab, right? Because UNDP is involved and NITI Aayog is involved. Um, and the kind of uh, the kind of exercises and tracking which happens like every week, right? Like of the submissions and assignments and stuff, uh, is really instrumental, because like uh, without that it's like very easy to get distracted, like of what the market is saying, what like VCs are saying, what investors are saying. There's multiple things, right? But like it's very easy to get distracted for like as entrepreneurs, right? So having those like having a good tracking mechanism to be able to monitor progress, and see where it could be not just incrementally but exponentially scaled up, right? Is what Youth Collab can offer. And apart from that, like the end outcomes are pretty much obvious, right? Like we get like featured on UNDP, and like we get featured and we get like incredible amount of visibility and international visibility. In fact, like after UNDP's program, after I won the program itself, like I got selected for Emergent Ventures, so which is like from Marketer Center, and like it's backed by Thiel Foundation and stuff. So because of like Youth Collab only that happened. It was like forming puzzles, like so it was like one thing leads to the next thing, right? So I'm just connecting dots, like looking back, but like because of that only the next thing happened, and we were able to form a very very um, robust thesis from the support that we got and from the advice that we got from Youth Club. We were able to form like a blueprint for like like the foundations of human pleasure or happiness or bliss, we can say, which was not just like about initially obviously we are dealing with a patient group and stuff and clinical populations, but like thinking ahead also of where will this ultimately go. So it was about like basically laying the blueprint or like a foundational thesis for the long term. So all these things were offerings which were fantastic.
Many congratulations getting selected. So my next question is like, what are some of the specific advantages or any key takeaways you have gained by participating in youth?
Um, First thing would obviously be like the whole incredible credibility part, right? That is part A. Um, Part B is like, since there's like a lot of impact based investors and VCs kind of looking at the program, very closely looking at the program, it further becomes easier to be able to go ahead and kind of raise capital also in some sense, right? Um, and and third thing would be um, in terms of like an impact startup, right? Like uh, we all have like good, amazing intentions, like of what has to happen. But forming like trackable KPIs and proper like indicators for that, um, as well as achieving those KPIs and milestones, like specific KPIs which are trackable like on a monthly or weekly basis, right? That is uh, that is an area which needs to uh, or rather that is an area which we all need to uh, imbibe, I would say, right? And that is something which Youth Club can massively offer on an obsessive tracking basis, like of what is happening and how do you get those milestones done, as well as the support to get those milestones done. For example, it's like very simple to set out the stuff, right? But then going ahead and practically implementing those very tough to do manufacturing issues and manufacturing pipelines which can come up or crop up later. You already get like doyens and visionary leaders who have figured out that whole stuff. So contacts, getting those contacts, and getting those connects to be able to be able to get those milestones done quickly in terms of assembly. It could be in terms of manufacturing. It could be in various other factors also, clinical trials, multiple other things, right? So getting those connects is like a make or break stuff, especially when you're starting out from scratch, when you don't have like any other, when you're purely coming out of merit, right? Which is when we're coming out purely out of merit, we won't have those connects. Generally, we won't have those connects and connections to be able to one thing is even form and after that scale the product also. And that is something Youth Collab can offer because merit is massively valued here, right? Um, Apart from that, the initial springboard itself, right? The initial springboard that we have gone through, just knowing or becoming aware that like there's like 300 other solution providers who are probably providing the same solution, maybe not the same technology, but are trying to solve the same issue. Um, kind of uh, really kickstarts your like adrenaline and like really makes us uh, think deeper, try to uh, get more done within a very short span of time. uh, because they're basically competitors who are like equally or probably more well equipped, and who have more resources probably, right? And so it very in a very short span of time, probably like uh, a few months, right? Within like 7 to 8 weeks of time, you have like incredible, like pristine clarity of what has to happen like on ground, and what is a niche that we need to target initially. Um, and that is crucial because like even if we consider examples, right? Like if you look at examples like Facebook, initially like they had a massive competitor called as MySpace. It was funded by News Corp, and like News Corp is like Rupert Murdoch, like a media mogul in some sense, right? But Facebook was basically like this dom room run like startup by like some 20 to 23-year-old or 19-year-old guy, right? But then like the reason why they succeeded was because initially they had like a huge niche that they can target, which is the college student, which were the college students initially, and they very effectively served the solution for the college student market, and in some sense got like a massive market share in that. And basically after they've got like a huge amount of retention and engagement in that market, that is when they basically reduce that initial barrier of having like a college ID, college email ID and stuff, which is when like the product became viral amongst the consumers. And so um, having the clarity about the initial niche, uh, of specific limited niche, right, is the make or break thing to do in a startup specifically. And that's what even VCs also will look at. VCs and even investors also will look at, because the vision and like the long term stuff is also something which needs to happen. But then at the same time, obsessively building and obsessively distributing, having an excellent distribution network for the product, and handling those day-to-day issues which can crop up, right, is essential. And that's something Youth Collab can offer. The initial 7 to 8 weeks is basically what a young entrepreneur would have done for like probably 1.5 years. It's basically taking that and shrinking it down and accelerating with it within 7 to 8 weeks.
Definitely, Shankar will try to implement all these suggestions in this year's Youth Collab.
It was not suggestion. It was like basically stuff that
Done,
already YCL has done.
implemented. Yeah, yeah.
In terms of feedback, I don't have any feedback. Basically, the program is perfect according to me, at least. So
Great.
I don't have any feedback to say.
Okay. So my final last question is like, what advice do you give for the young entrepreneurs who are planning to apply for Youth Collab?
First advice would be something very important. Go to the website and apply. But I would say like evaluate. I think in this year there are three sectors, right? So evaluate like what you have done, like in the past, like probably 6 months or so of forming a startup, or even like if you're like a bit ahead in the journey, like see evaluate like how the past 6 months has been. um, and then like align yourselves with the one thing is global SDGs, obviously. And apart from that, also what YCL is kind of expecting, right? Because YCL is basically like uh, it's basically like Y Combinator for social startups, and it's Y Combinator for social startups on, you know, 10 times caffeine. Because it happens very, very quickly, right? So just align yourselves with that kind of speed of being able to quickly iterate, you know, ourselves for the massive expectations that the mentors will have on us. And being able to align ourselves, that is the first thing. Second thing is figuring out that the team has that ethos, as well as um, team has that responsibility to be able to respond anytime, like, you know, across different time zones, anytime there's an issue, because the program is very, very quick. And uh, only if we iterate quickly, we kind of get like the maximum uh, you know, impact of it, right? So that is crucial. Apart from that, I would say, like, you get very valuable time from like pioneering leaders in the whole sector, like even like half an hour or 1 hour of their time uh, is basically giving you insights of their whole 20 to 30 years of or 40 years of journey, right? And so getting that is like it's basically like, you know, accelerating your journey within that time frame, right? Because otherwise we'll go the entire world, and then we'll come back to the same you know, road itself, right? So we'll go to the entire world, and then finally we'll come up with the right path. So getting that time is crucial. And so prepare all the questions which are necessary, like all the possible questions which are necessary for our whole KPIs to be met, right? That is very, very crucial. And have those questions right now itself, as you're like, even before getting selected to the program itself. Write down those questions, write down those key, like, pressing issues which you're already facing right now, and ask it you know, much more beforehand, and keep those prepared much more beforehand, before getting selected to the program itself. And yeah, be ready for the speed of the program. I would say so that these are the primary things. And as far as tips are concerned, I would say just like be honest and be very, very open about and straightforward about what has been done, what you're going to be doing, and how you're going to bridge that, you know, bridge that bridge where you're going to go and where you are right now. So be a very crucial, be very be very honest about that. Be very straightforward about that. Also, be very open about like the issues you're currently facing. Also, like in the sector and um, in the whole market itself, right? Be very, very open about that, and straightforward and frank, because then only the mentors and even like the panelists also will get like a uh, like a transparent view of what resources needs to go into the startup, right? So be open about that and honest about that. And yeah, just get used to the speed.
Yes, okay. So Shankar, that's my questions for today's workshop. So big thanks for being a part of this insightful workshop. Thank you for spending, hour with us in your busy schedule. So I just request all the young entrepreneurs who are watching this to kindly apply for Youth Cola, because it is a very good opportunity for you people. Because you'll be getting more number of sessions, some mentoring, like how to improvise in your entrepreneur journey. So such kind of advices will be given with great expertise. who are experiencing that field for many long years. So if you wish to apply for this youth collab, then there is a microsite. So we will be tagging that microsite link in the description box of our YouTube channel, so you can kindly apply. And if you have any queries or any questions, so our team is like every day like will be available. You can reach out to us. So Shankar, once again, thank you so much.
Thank you. Really an honor to um, let's see, there's some background music. One. EndNote will I'll just take some time.